Shalom, shalom, and welcome. If you're tuning in for the first time, my name is Symmanayah, and these are the words I'm compelled to present to an awakening, set-apart nation. To those who are drawn by the Almighty Creator, Yahuah, to His word, Yahusha, as it is written in John 6:44. Before I get into this message, I want to say this, that the views expressed in these messages do not necessarily reflect the views of the owners, managers, shareholders, and/or sponsors of this media platform. With that said, let's get started. My brothers and sisters, there are no doubt that the times are changing in this world. And for those who are awake, many of us are aware that we are in the end times. We have arrived at the end of the age. And with that comes uncertainty, confusion, a hunger and a thirst to decide and discern what is true, what is right. And there are so many positions of belief out there. These words are to those who are drawn by the Almighty Father, to Yahusha. For Yahusha is His word. It is said in John 12:32, where Yahusha said, if He be lifted up, He will draw all men to Himself. He, Yahusha, represents the word of Yahuah, no Trinity. And we will grow to understand the dynamics that the Almighty Yahuah, when we say His name, Yahuah, it represents spirit everywhere at all times, the beginning, the end, light, a consuming fire. And when we use the name Yahusha, it represents Yahuwah's word manifest before us. And I will say this, I unequivocally believe that the living Almighty Father, through His word, Yahusha, that things will be made clear to those who must fulfill what is written. Not might, not maybe, must and will. This segment is to bring your attention that the word made flesh is Yahusha. And as I said, no Trinity. Yahusha HaMashiach is the name of the Almighty Yahuwah's word. HaMashiach is basically saying the Messiah. But Yahusha, Yah salvation, or some will say it represents Yah saves. It is important, O Yasharal, as we enter into some intense times, that we begin to identify who is communicating with us, who is influencing us the most. Is it the word of Yahuah that comes in Yahusha's name? Or is it that thing that sits in the skull called our brain as a result of mental conditioning? You see, our brain has been programmed strongly influenced by whatever culture, whatever nation, whatever geographic area or nationality that we have been raised in. And whether it be in the home, the neighborhood, the community, the school, wherever we spend most of our time tends to shape, excuse me, my brothers, tends to shape and influence us. But I say to you, there is an inward man, that spirit we have within, and joined with Yahuah by His plan, by His word, by His drawing, we will discern that the flesh, the brain, will war against the spirit, the inward man, but we will come to the point where we can identify and discern what is right, what is true, and who's guiding us. Yasharal, oh Yasharal, stay with me. For it is important to know and identify the word of Yahuah. Let us visit these words, my brothers and sisters. Let us come to identify John. Now, one thing that is certain, the original scriptures didn't have chapter numbers and verse numbers. The original scriptures didn't say Old Testament and New Testament. This is some man introduced. The entire inspired words from the Almighty Father is from Genesis to Revelation. Though some books have been left out, it does not mean they did not exist. And how do we become clear when we read the things that are in our possession that represents the scriptures, or what we know as the Bible, commonly known for some as the Bible? Come with me to John 1:1 through 1:5, and it reads, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with the Almighty One, and the Word was the Almighty One. He was in the beginning with the Almighty One. All came to be through him, and without him not even one came to be that came to be. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. And the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it." There are those who will have you believe that life began in darkness, not realizing that life begins with light. For it says that Yahuah is light. And if you read the scriptures, you'll know he's the beginning and the end. So things begin with light and ends with light. No one is able to, most are unable to discern when that life began. And there are those that rather use their intellect and believe that it began in the darkness of the womb of the mother. And I submit to you, in order for the egg and the sperm to come together and begin its journey, it had to be by the word of Yahuah. In order for it to be active, it had to have life. So it began with light. You see, we cut short with our intellect, thinking that we can rationally figure out how things are. And the scriptures tell us that the wisdom of men will prove to become foolish. Yahuah manifests his word in the person of Yahusha. From the virgin birth to walking among us, to Yahuah sending his set-apart spirit in Yahusha's name, to reflect the sequence of order in his relationship with us. Let's drop down to the 12th verse. I'm still in the first chapter of John. It says, "But as many as received him, to them he gave the authority to become children of the Almighty One, to those believing in his name, who were born not of blood, nor of the desire of the flesh, nor of the desire of man, but of the Almighty One." See, some will say we were born because our mother and father had intercourse. I submit to you, there would not have been any life coming from a man and a woman coming together and quote unquote producing a baby if the word of Yahuah did not make it so. The word became flesh, pitched his tent among us, and we saw his esteem as of and only brought forth of the Father, complete in favor and truth. That was John 1:14. John 6:51 reads this: "I am the living bread, and came down out of the heaven. If anyone eats of this bread, he shall live forever. And indeed the bread that I shall give is my flesh, which I shall give for the life of the world." He's describing the sacrifice. And though the scriptures have been changed in so many different languages, know this: when he said his flesh, it is the demonstration, it is the physical presence. From birth to sacrifice to resurrection, to him coming, Yahuah bringing his spirit, sent in his word's name, Yahusha, to keep the continuity of the plan of the Almighty Father. We will learn, my brothers and sisters, that we have a guide, we have a comforter in him, we have a teacher. in the Spirit of Yahusha. My brothers and sisters, come, let us meet our teacher. The Spirit of Yahuah sent in Yahusha's name. If you not and have not come to realize that this is our teacher, you will soon, my brothers and sisters. Come with me to John 14:25 through 28, for it reads, "These words I have spoken to you while still with you. But the Helper, the set-apart Spirit, whom the Father shall send in my name, he shall teach you all and remind you of all that I've said to you. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. I do not give to you as the world gives." See, the world programs us and conditions us. The Spirit quickens and makes alive our spirit, which brings into subjection the actions of the mind, the brain. "Do not let your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. You heard that I said to you, I am going away and I am coming to you. If you did love me, you would have rejoiced that I said, I am going to the Father, for my Father is greater than I." Why is he greater than I? Because the Father, as Yahuah, is spirit everywhere at all times. Therefore, you could not physically touch him, hold on to him, manipulate him. But he manifests his word to walk among us, to demonstrate how we're to engage him, the Father, as spirit, by engaging his word, Yahusha. And from the birth to the sacrifice to the resurrection, Yahusha represents salvation, the Almighty Father's action to bring redemption and everlasting life. My brothers and sisters, John 14:26 says, "This helper, this set-apart spirit, shall teach you all and remind you all that I've said to you." Are we aware that this is the Spirit in the voice of the Almighty Father speaking to us? We will discover there are answers to our questions as uncertainty get intense. I strongly encourage the pursuit of the voice of the Almighty Yahuah, who comes in Yahusha's name. Stay with me, my brothers and sisters, as I continue. And if you believe I'm moving in a direction that strengthens life, that promotes life, the life of the Almighty Father given to us through his word, Yahusha, consider subscribing, like, share. Make known these words towards others, my brothers and sisters. End time will prove the need to fear the Almighty Yahuah. If we are to gain wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, we must know that process. We must know what does that require. And let me take you to these words, O Yahusha. Proverbs 1:7 says, "The fear of Yahuah is the beginning of knowledge. Fools despise wisdom and discipline." When you present what you believe is true, when you present the wisdom of Yahuah, and one despises that, and they despise corrections that you present or that we present, are such actions that they despise and reject the wisdom and discipline, are these the actions of fools? And if so, then we need to come away from them, pray for them. You see, too much time is spent on trying to impart wisdom or bring discipline to the body of Yahusha. We must present what is true and watch the Spirit stir within and bring the results that are expected. Proverbs 3:7 says, "Do not be wise in your own eyes. Fear Yahuah and turn away from evil." Proverbs 14:26 reads this, "In the fear of Yahuah is strong trust, and his children have a place of refuge. have a place of refuge. If ever a time we will begin to see people looking for a place of refuge, that time is now. And I submit to you, that place of refuge for some will be the gathering from the four corners of the earth before the physical return of Yahusha. That place of refuge will be for some physical death, sleep for the set apart one. And this is a time to begin to ponder and pray. What refuge lie ahead for the one in the mirror? Proverbs chapter 30, verse 5 says, every word of the Almighty One is tried. He is a shield to those taking refuge in him. In him, my brothers and sisters. The ultimate refuge is knowing that we are in his possession, that we are his, made possible by his word, bringing understanding and direction, teaching and comforting us, guiding us, and imparting wisdom on us. There will be opposition on many fronts, my brothers and sisters. Be informed. Consider these words as we walk forward, as we press forward into the life that is before us. Galatians 5:16 through 18 reads this. And I say, walk in the Spirit, and you shall not accomplish the lust of the flesh. We must pursue and discern the voice of the Spirit of Yahuah sent in Yahusha's name. We must learn what it means to walk in the Spirit and the discipline and the ways and desires of the Almighty Father. It says, for the flesh lusts against the Spirit, and the Spirit against the flesh, and these are opposed to each other, so that you do not do what you desire to do. But if you are led by the Spirit, you are not under Torah. My brothers and sisters, what this is saying, if you're led by the Spirit, you're not under black and white that's just thrown at you any kind of way, instructions that are thrown at you any kind of way. If you're led by the Spirit will make the text alive and will make known what it is the Almighty Father wants us to receive from the text. But before we grew to recognize his Spirit within us, before we understood the dynamics of him shedding his Spirit across the planet within his children, before we knew that, we had the directions from his prophets and from those that were inspired to write the scriptures. And so therefore the scriptures were as our schoolmaster. And as we began to receive the life through his set-apart Spirit that was sent in Yahusha's name, we began to realize who it is guiding us and how. 2 Corinthians chapter 3, 4 through 6. Come with me, my brothers and sisters, as I read these words. Seek the life in them. They have a literal meaning, for Shalum was speaking to those that were in Corinth, but it goes beyond just those that was in Corinth. It goes to all those who are set apart. Instructions that make for improved worship and obedience to the Almighty Father. It's saying such trust we have toward the Almighty One through the Messiah. Through the Messiah. That's Yahusha. Not that we are competent in ourselves to reckon any matters as from ourselves, but our competence is from the Almighty One, who also made us competent as servants of a renewed covenant, not of the letter, but of the Spirit. For the letter kills, but the Spirit gives life. You see, the letter, my brothers and sisters, is akin to us just reading the text and believe that we got the answers. I spoke of how we have been conditioned to process information based on how we were raised, who we hung around, peers, family, communities, groups. But the scriptures tell us don't be competent in our own mind, but be competent by the Spirit, making known what is true, what is strong, what is correct, what is set apart. It would be wise to know the full meaning of the word Torah. It means instruction, my brothers and sisters. Though the first 5 books in the scriptures, written by Musha, or some will say Moshe, provided instructions, provided the 10 Commandments, laws, and statutes. I submit to you, we serve a living Almighty One who gives us instructions daily, whether we acknowledge it or not, does not prohibit or impede that he gives us instructions daily to strengthen us. What do you think happens in our day-to-day walk if we're demonstrating set apartness? Is that not the fruit of instructions, the living Torah from the Almighty Father? Come with me to Galatians chapter 3, verses 24 through 29, my brothers and sisters. It says, therefore the Torah, this could be said as the instruction, became our trainer unto Messiah in order to be declared right by belief. By belief. You see, so we had the instructions as our trainer, as our schoolmaster, pointing us to the word, Yahusha, in order to be declared right by belief. And after belief has come, we are no longer under a trainer. In other words, we discover that it is the Spirit of Yahuah that brought about the training instructions. So we no longer just have to look at the written instructions, for there was a period when Yahusha looked at the writings of the prophet and moved according to the writings and according to the messages that came from the prophets or those whom the Almighty Father would speak through. Upon the resurrection of Yahusha, the word of Yahuah, we find ourselves empowered to believe that he is indeed within us, working through us one towards another. It says, for you are all sons of the Almighty One through belief in Messiah Yahusha. For as many of you as were immersed into Messiah have put on Messiah. There is not Yehudi nor Greek. There is not slave nor free. There is not male and female, for you are all one in Messiah Yahusha. And if you are Messiah, of Messiah, then you are seed of Abraham and heirs according to promise. When it says you are not Yehudi nor Greek, my brothers and sisters, ultimately with us, it is that inward man, that is spirit, that will live forever. To those who belong to the Almighty Father as his set-apart children, our spirit will not be Yehudi or Greek. It would be the set-apart spirit of the children of Yahusha. But make no mistake, this verse is not saying ignore that Hebrews exist. It is not saying ignore that Greek. And I believe this particular translation, the Scriptures 2009 translation, it is my position that they replace Gentiles. They replace the word Gentile with the word Greek. Gentile means all other nations, my brothers and sisters. All other nations. It's saying if you are of Messiah, then you are seed of Abraham and heirs according to promise. Yahusha, my brothers and sisters, the word made flesh, dwelt among us, the sacrifice, his resurrection. All these dynamics occurred to bring about a relationship with the Almighty Father. It would be wise to realize that it is the Spirit of Yahuah that makes the text alive, and his word comes in Yahusha's name. Through witnessing him work in us, through us, one towards another, we will see unity come for Yahusha in such a way that we never expected. We will learn how to yield and subject to one another as his spirit chooses the individual he would speak through. Yes, pastors, bishops, apostles, deacons, There are different offices that bring structure to Yahusha. But know this, whom the Father chooses to speak through at whatever given time, he has that liberty. And he proved it as he worked in us, through us, one towards another. Come with me, my brother, my sister, my family, to Hebrews 8th chapter, verse 10 through 12. It reads this, because this is the covenant that I shall make with the house of Yahusha after those days, says Yahuah, giving my laws in their mind, and I shall write them on their hearts, and I shall be their Almighty One. And they shall be my people. And they shall by no means teach each one his neighbor, and each one his brother, saying, Know Yahuah, because they all shall know me, from the least of them to the greatest. You see, he's letting us know that this teaching is from him working in us. There are mores, teachers, pastors, bishops even, deacons, who would rather pat themselves on the back and say, I'm going to teach you this, I'll teach you that. Not realizing we may speak the words that leads to instruction, but it is the Spirit of Yahuah that teaches, that open our eyes. We cannot force understanding on individuals. We can only present the words that point towards the understanding that the Spirit of Yahuah will bring to us, one towards another. He says here, and they shall by no means teach each one his neighbor and each one his brother, saying, Know Yahuah, because they all shall know me, from the least of them to the greatest. Do you think the Almighty Father will make a mistake? Leave somebody out? Don't think so. And in his plan and the salvation that he has given us, we will understand what he means by, because I shall forgive their unrighteousness and their sins and their lawlessness, and I shall no longer remember them, because it's covered by the blood of the Lamb, my brothers and sisters, his children. It would be wise to be familiar with these words as well. And you probably hear me say it would be wise. Do we not want to grow in wisdom? Do we not want to gain the knowledge that is required to please the Almighty One? Are we not aware that it says without belief it's impossible to please him? And if we're believing him, what are the fruits of his actions working in us, through us, one towards another? I want to read 2 Corinthians 6:16. 2 Corinthians 6:16. It reads, And what union hath the dwelling place of the Almighty One with idols? For you are a dwelling place of the living Almighty One. As Yahuah, as the Almighty One has said, I shall dwell in them, walk among them, and I shall be their Almighty One, and they shall be my people. My brothers and sisters, sometimes we fail to realize that as children of Yahuah, he is in us, dwelling within us, and that his word speaks through us, one towards another. And there are times in that process of discipline that he is working a good work within us. And we may not see it right away because the flesh is warring against the spirit. So yes, we stumble, we fall, but make no mistake, discipline works itself within us and then works out the discipline from the Almighty One. Come with me to Ephesians chapter 3, verse 14 through 16, my brothers and sisters. Ephesians 3:14 through 16 reads this. For this reason, I bow my knees to the Father of our Master Yahusha Messiah, from whom all fatherhood in the heavens and earth is named, in order that he might give you, according to the riches of his esteem, by power to be strengthened in the inner man through his Spirit, that the Messiah might dwell in your hearts through belief, having become rooted and grounded in love, in order that you might be strengthened to firmly grasp with all the set apart ones what is the width and the length and depth and height, to know the love of Messiah which surpasses knowledge, in order that you might be filled to all the completeness of the Almighty One. Filled. Discover what stirs inside the one in the mirror, who is set apart by the Spirit of Yahuah, sent in Yahusha's name, by his plan, by his sacrifice, by the resurrection. Come with me to Colossians 3:16. Colossians 3:16 say, let the word of Messiah dwell in you richly, teaching and admonishing one another in all wisdom, singing with pleasure in your hearts to the Master, in psalms and songs of praise and spiritual songs. Yahusha, my brothers and sisters, unity is coming. Deliverance is coming. Strength and maturity is coming. Yahusha was the physical manifestation of the Almighty Yahuah's word. And I say that Yahuah also sent his set-apart Spirit in Yahusha's name. And we will grow to understand those dynamics in order that we may be strong and unified by the word of the Almighty Father that comes in Yahusha's name. Yahuah sent his word to us upon the resurrection as his Spirit in the name of his word, Yahusha. Make no mistake, my brothers and sisters. When the 144,000 and great multitude mentioned in Revelation 7 chapter come together, we will know and agree that the word was made flesh, and that the word made flesh is Yahusha. And out of obedience to his instructions and directions, we will know that the Almighty Father is bringing his plan to completion. We will remember his instructions, his promises. We will know them. We will know him. We will obey and worship him, my brothers and sisters. And there will be those purged from among us. There'll be those that we will come away from. There are those who will be caught blinded because of unbelief. There will be those still on milk and will die still in doubt. But make no mistake, the Almighty Father will fulfill his promises, all that is written regarding his set-apart children. Yahusha, oh Yahusha. Come, let us take a look at these words. Hear me, my brother, my sister, my family. Hear these words from Acts 1, 4 and 5. Acts 1, 4 and 5 says, in meeting with them, he commanded them not to leave Jerusalem, but to wait for the promise of the Father, which you have heard from me. Because Yohanan truly immersed you in water, but you shall be immersed in the set-apart Spirit not many days from now. Now, for those of you who would rather say you're not saved until the resurrection, what do you think is happening when we become immersed in the set-apart Spirit of Yahuah sent in Yahusha's name? What do you think is occurring? A splash and a walk away? Or is that immersion an awakening to the living presence of Yahuah joined with our inward man to guide us, to direct us, to discipline us, to use us for his esteem? Come with me to Acts chapter 2, verse 1 through 4, my brothers and sisters. And when the day of the festival of Shavuot had come, they were all with one mind in one place. And suddenly there came a sound from the heaven as of a rushing mighty wind, and it filled all the house where they were sitting. And there appeared to them divided tongues as of fire, and settled on each one of them. And they were all filled with the set-apart Spirit, and began to speak with other tongues as the Spirit gave them to speak. My brothers and sisters, the power and might of the Spirit of Yahuah dwelling in us, working in us, through us, one towards another, will be made clear like we've never imagined. What say you, my brothers and sisters? The word of the Almighty Yahuah, Yahusha, walked among us. He demonstrated how we to seek the will of the Almighty Father through his word. It is the living word of Yahusha that will make things clear. And it's time for us to discern that voice, his voice. It's time for us to witness, confirm, and reaffirm when the scriptures are made alive before us. This is necessary to complete and bring about the final exodus, that final gathering. The Spirit of the Word of the Almighty Yahuah, Yahusha, will prove to work in us and through us, one towards another. When you hear people say we all to be priests and kings, my brothers and sisters, what this is referencing is when we subject ourselves one towards another, when we yield to when the Spirit of He who is the Almighty One, He who is the Master, He who is the Sovereign, the King, Yahusha, when we yield for Him to speak through us to a sister or a brother, or a sister speaking to a brother, when we yield and subject ourselves one towards another, my brothers and sisters, then we are yielding to the sovereign voice of Yahusha, the Spirit of Yahuah that comes to us in Yahusha's name. And we will understand. So prepare to witness all that is commanded, all that is promised to his children. My brothers and sisters, the word made flesh, beyond the demonstration, beyond those whom he healed and saved, comes the living presence of the Almighty Father in Yahusha's name. Some would rather magnify the words Ruach HaKadosh or Kadesh. Kadesh means set apart. Ruach means spirit. Set apart spirit. The set apart spirit is the Spirit of Yahuah. And we are made one with him through Yahusha HaMashiach, through his word that is our mediator, our sovereign, our king. Yasharal, oh Yasharal, prepare to see order and structure come. Prepare to see emotions heighten. But prepare more than anything to grow in discerning the voice of the Spirit of Yahusha and witnessing him structure a set-apart nation like never imagined. Yasharal, oh Yasharal, it is through the word that's made flesh that things become clear, that unity will come. If you listen to this from beginning to end, I salute you. I thank you for your patience, your pursuit of set-apartness. I want to say, stay tuned. There is more to come. Remember, O Yasharal, to subscribe, like, share with others. They may listen to it and get something that you miss. They may speak to you about what they heard, and you got something that they missed. We will learn how to be as iron sharpening iron in the coming days ahead, O Yasharal. By subscribing, you help enlarge the audience that will examine these words, that will confirm and reaffirm the things that are true. We have an obligation, my brothers and sisters, to be as endless waters, as a fountain overflowing with endless water from the Almighty Father. What is your contribution? Come, my brothers and sisters. Let us come together. Let us grow closer together. For in the days ahead to fulfill what has been promised, it's a must for those whom the Almighty Father has chosen for his esteem to fulfill that final exodus, to fulfill their last days. For some of us, we will be martyrs for Yahusha's name. For others, something different. But ultimately, the Almighty Father will begin proving to us what we must do. Stay tuned, Yahusha. There's much more to come. On that note, I say to you, be encouraged. Our redemption will be magnified, confirmed, and reaffirmed in the days ahead. I end with saying, Shalom. Shalom, my brother, my sister, my family. Shalom.